Hi guys, I think I'm live now. Let me know if you can see me and hear me. If everything is good, if the stream and the session seems to be good, then we'll start today's session. Please do like the stream, guys. I want to get to at least 150 likes before the stream ends. So please do like it. And if you are not able to hear or if there is any issue with seeing, then please do let me know. Today's session is basically about the strategy that you should implement when you're actually taking the examination, when you're taking the LRDI examination. And I'll also discuss about what you can do for the last 45 days with respect to LRDS. Now, we'll start very soon. I'm just waiting for some more people to join us. So if you want more people to join us very quickly, please do like the stream and please do share it with your friends so that more people will join us. Once we have around say 75, 80 people joining the stream live, then I'll start today's session. Okay, let me look at some of the questions that they asked. Udit Agarwal, hi Udit, hi Jiva. Hi Vikas, good to see you Vikas. You come to all of our streams and it's very nice to see you. Hi Utkarsh. Hi Arpit. Vikas is saying yes, he has been taking the test regularly. That's good. Hi Shantanu. Leo Messi is saying, sir, I'm good at LR, how to improve in DI. In my opinion, actually DI is the easier part out of LR and DI. DI, basically, if you spend time, you will most likely get the question correct. You should be sure and you should practice some of the sets, some of the types of data interpretation sets. But if you practice them well and if you spend some time in the examination, you should mostly get the questions correct. Okay, let us start today's session. So, for somebody who is preparing for LRDI, who hasn't taken CAT earlier or who has taken CAT only once or twice, and they are feeling stressed out about LRDI, one of the first things that I would do to calm yourself down, to get some confidence about LRDI is solving the LRDI sets from the CAT previous papers of CAT 2020, CAT 2021 and CAT 2022. And also when you're solving a paper, when you're solving I would recommend you to download the PDFs. You can find the previous year's PDFs from many websites. You can even find it on our Cracku website. You can just go to the CAT previous papers page on Cracku. You can download the PDFs for all the slots. It is completely for free. CAT 2020, CAT 2021 and CAT 2022. Now when you have the PDF with you, every day try to solve say 2 or 3 sets without any time limit. Now give your best, try to solve it to the best of your ability. And after you put in effort, then look at the video solution. The video solution, the link for it is given in the PDF itself. If you are looking at Cracku's PDFs, click download the PDF. After you go through the set, you get a button where you click on it, you will be redirected to the video solution. You go there and you watch the video solution, but only after you put in a lot of effort in trying to solve the set on your own. Because then if you look at the video solution, you will understand the video solution better and you will be able to apply whatever you learned when you face a similar set in the future. This is the first step that you should do. And it is going to take you maybe 1 or 2 weeks, but it is very good use of your time if you're actually solving the previous year's LRDI sets. Once that is out of the way, once you are actually going to the examination, I'm going to give you 3 tips. I'll actually give you 4 tips, which I think are very useful. These will be very specific tips that I'm going to give you with respect to LRDI. This is with respect to the strategy that you should use when you are actually answering the LRDI set. The first thing I would tell you is LRDI comes second in the 3 list. First is verbal, second is LRDI and the third is quant. Now LRDI, before LRDI, you're going to get verbal section. So try to ensure, and this is something that I also do, try to ensure that the last 3 or 4 minutes of the verbal section, you don't spend a lot of energy, don't get very intense, don't try to be super focused or super committed to finishing in reading comprehension or anything like that. Basically, don't use your adrenaline. Don't be like super worked up, so that once you put in a lot of intensive effort in the last 3 or 4 minutes in trying to answer a question or answer a set, then once LRDI starts, your mind is tired, you also feel that crash after the adrenaline, and you might waste the first 3 or 4 minutes of LRDI. And once the first 3 or 4 minutes are wasted, you can zone out, you can have many things that happen, which has happened to me also, where after the first 5 or 6 minutes, I have recuperated, but by the time I start panicking that, okay, 5-6 minutes have gone past and I haven't even started an LRDI set. Now, that is a situation that can definitely occur. So my recommendation for you is that look at verbal section as a 35 to 36 minute set. Try to finish as many as you can in the first 36 minutes. In the last 4 minutes or so, attempt individual questions. Don't try to attempt a reading comprehension set. Don't be very committed to any particular question. Try to be slightly zoned out because you should keep telling yourself that the next section that is going to come is the most important section. In verbal section, if you do very well in the last 4 minutes, you will probably get 2 more questions correct. But if you start very poorly in LRDI, it is very likely that you will not solve any set. That is an imminent possibility for everyone, including me. I'm always worried that if I go into the LRDI set, it is a difficult LRDI section and I'll come out getting 0, because I know that that is possible. So if it is possible for me, it is possible for nearly everyone. So you should always give it not the paranoia, but you should at least give it the respect that it deserves. Once that is out of the way, the last 4 minutes of verbal, be slightly chilled out. Attempt only individual questions in verbal section because they are less intensive, and prepare your mind so that once the LRDI section starts, there is no break in the middle. Once the verbal section ends, immediately LRDI starts. So you are also completely tuned in. You don't waste any 3 or 4 minutes in actually getting into the groove. That is the first thing. We have close to 125 people who are watching our stream live. Please do like the stream, guys. I look at some of the questions and I'll answer the questions. This is the first step. The first step is taking the last 4-5 minutes of verbal section easy. Sushant Khandelwal is saying, sir, in Dash Cats, recently like in 8 and 9, in Quant section, after mock, I solved 13 questions in 40 minutes, but at mock, I solved only 7. Sushant, this is a very common occurrence. This, I think, is with respect to the nerves that you'll have on the day of the examination, and because it is a mock, you feel that, okay, I'm not able to solve, or your mind also panics. It happens to me also, it happens to many people, where you start feeling stressed out, that time is passing and you're not able to answer questions. Now, the best way to get over it is try to be slightly detached from the time. Try to attempt questions as quickly as you can, and if you're not getting a question correct, go to the next one. That definitely works in Quant. It might not work in LRDI because there are only 4 sets. Most likely there will be 4 sets, maximum there will be 5 sets. So you don't have the luxury of ditching a set and going to the next set often. In a Quant question, if you are not able to, if you have zoned out, if you are trying to solve it but you have panicked and you are not able to make any headway into a question, it is okay. Even if you feel that it's an easy question, it's okay. After like a minute, if you for some reason are not making a headway, go to the next question. The thing is, you have to believe that after skipping 3 or 4 questions, then your mind starts working. It once happened to me, I think in CAT 2020, that in Quant, LRDI I somehow scraped through. I was having a tough time in LRDI, but somehow I managed to save it, and I knew that I saved it, but I had to put a lot of effort, and finally I saved it. And once that happened in Quant, I had a crash where the first 5-6 minutes I was just not able to focus. I was not able to read any line because I was so tired from the effort that I put in the last few minutes of LRDI. And I was looking at one question after the other and I was not making any headway. I was not, basically it was not registering in my mind. Those questions were there. I just didn't know how to answer or what to do. I was skipping one question after the other and it was not working out. Then what I did was that I knew that it was psychological. Clearly it was just a psychological thing where I was not able to make any headway, and 3 or 4 questions, I've changed 3 or 4 questions, it was not working out. So I told myself that, okay, I won't come from the start, I'll come from the bottom. So then I went to the last question in Quant and then I got it correct. Then I went to the second last, and then once the engine starts moving, then you also get the confidence that you can answer questions. So instead of going from the first to the last, I started from the last to the first, and then I had a decent session at Quant also. So this is something that you can try. If you, for some reason, you are struggling at the start, then okay, I'll give you the next tip. Nitin Gupta, between 2 sections, do we get a break in actual CAT? No, Nitin, you don't get any break in the actual CAT. Once the first section ends, the second section starts immediately. You just take some time to submit the set. Within 5 seconds or so, the second section will start. Same between the second and the third. This is the reason you should mentally prepare yourself and try to ensure that you don't miss out or start panicking in the next section. In GMAT, for example, there is a break between sections, which I think is pretty cool. It also is fair, but in CAT, that is not the case. Once one section ends, the second section starts immediately, and I find it very tiring. Guys, please do like the stream. I want to get to at least 150 likes before the stream ends. We have more than 160 people who are watching the stream live, so we can easily get to at least 150 likes. Let me tell you the second tip that I wanted to tell you. The first tip that I told you was taking the last few minutes of verbal slightly easy. The second tip that I would tell you is the second tip I would tell you is that once the LRDI section starts, what I do is I spend the first 2 to 3 minutes in going through all the 4 sets. I'm expecting there to be 4 sets. This is what has happened in CAT 2022. I think this is what has happened in CAT 2021 also. There will be 4 sets, which I expect even this time. So go through all the sets, and when you're going through all the sets, what are the things that you should try to figure out? What are the first thing you should figure out is what is the type of set it is. There are clearly certain types of sets that come regularly. So out of the 4 sets, I'm expecting 2 sets to be normal sets. What do I mean by normal sets? These are the kind of sets that occurred in previous papers. And there will be 2 sets which are completely new. The normal sets I would tell you are, the list is, they can be either arrangement sets, they can be either Venn diagram sets, they can be scheduling sets, they can be games and tournament sets, they can be Einstein puzzle sets, or they can be missing values in the table sets. So these are different types of normally asked sets. You know each one of them. If you don't know them, I can give you a brief summary about each one of them, but basically these are the type of sets that normally come. There is also one set which usually comes, which is the data interpretation set. That is, there is a graph and you have to look at the graph. So when I'm going through the LRDI section, when I'm looking at the first 2 minutes, I try to figure out if this is a set which belongs to any one of the types that I normally see in LRDI sets. Now, if it is one of them, then it is definitely more confidence boosting to me, because I would have solved those kind of sets often. That is the first thing I would notice. The second thing I would notice is obviously how many questions are there. In CAT 2022, for example, each of the 4 sets had 5 questions. But that was not the case in CAT 2021 and CAT 2020. I think in the earlier CATs, there were some sets with 4 questions and there were some sets with 6 questions. So 6 question sets obviously take more time. That is the second thing you should observe. The third thing you should observe when you're looking at a particular set is, will we be able to solve this set? If you solve the set, will you get all the questions correct? Because there will be certain types of sets. For example, there are some sets which is selection with criteria. Now those kind of sets, you have to solve every question individually in many of the cases. Now that is more tiring. There are some kinds of sets, mostly in arrangements kinds of sets, where once you solve the set, once you get the complete arrangement done, you can answer all the 5 questions immediately. You don't need to solve them again and again. But there are some sets where you will solve the set partially and every question is an individual question. Sometimes they say that, okay, if say X is in the team and Y is not in the team, how many teams are possible? Or if X is in the team and there is an additional condition that Z doesn't want to be part of the team, how many teams are possible? So again, individually you'll have to solve many of these questions. The thing is, I feel personally that if you are able to solve a set and you're getting all the questions correct, that is a better set, a more comfortable set to answer than a set where you have to answer each of the questions individually, because that I find to be very tiring. So these are the things that I look at where I'm looking at the sets in the first 2 to 3 minutes. And you can easily get most of these things when you look at a set for 30 to 45 seconds. In most of the cases, you will be able to identify. First, you will identify what is the topic of the set. Is it an arrangement set? Is it a graph? Is it a Venn diagram set? What kind of set is it? Second is it an individual set, individual question set, or does it have to be solved individually? For that, you have to look at a few questions, the first 2-3 questions, and you'll get a sense of it. The third thing is number of questions in the set. All of them can be figured out within 45 seconds. And once you do that, make a priority order. Feel that, okay, this is a set I'm going to attempt first. This seems to be an easy set. This is a set I'll attempt second. This is a set I'll attempt third. This is a set I'll attempt fourth. Once you have the priority order, a lot of confusion in your mind is removed. Then you start attempting the first set. If you are lucky and if your assessment was right, if it was an easy set, you'll get it correct easily. Then we don't need to discuss it. Then go to the next set and the next set and next set. But suppose your assessment was wrong. Suppose you thought a set was easy. You spent around 5 minutes and you are not able to make a lot of progress. Then immediately be ruthless. Go to the next set. Don't spend 10 minutes or 15 minutes in the first set, because if you have spent 15 minutes and you're not solved that set, especially if it is the first set, it is going to be a disaster. it is very difficult to come back from it. I am being very honest. If you spend 15 minutes in an LRDI section and you haven't solved any set, you will panic. Even though you have 25 minutes, you can probably salvage it if you are rational. It is very difficult to be rational in the examination hall. So the first set, getting the first set correct is very, very important. So try to select a set which seems to be very easy, or seems to be a set which you will solve if you spend time. That is most likely a DI set. If you look at a graph, how difficult will that graph be? It will probably be calculation intensive. It will probably be many things, but it will probably not be very, very difficult, especially with data interpretation sets. If you spend time, you'll get it correct. And that is what I'll normally attempt. Because I know that if I spend 10 to 15 minutes, in most cases, I'll get the DI set correct. And once I get the DI set correct, I'll be a lot less nervous. And once I'm calm, I'll get at least one more set correct. That is basically my strategy. So this is what I do. I'll make the priority order by spending around 2 to 3 minutes on the 4 sets together. I attempt the first set, which normally I select to be a DI set or a set which I'm very comfortable that I'll solve. In most cases, it works. If it doesn't work, I go to the next set within 5 minutes because I want to get at least one set correct in the first 15 minutes. And I also tell myself that I don't need to get all the 4 sets correct. There will be some people who will get all the 4 sets correct. But for me, in LRDI, I try to get 2 sets correct for sure, because then I'm going to get a very good percentile. And if possible, I'll try to get 3 sets correct. And normally, I would expect anybody to think similarly. Because if you're getting 2 sets correct in LRDI, you'll be getting a very good percentile. So you have 20 minutes per set. You have to just select the right sets. So go through each of these sets for some time and then make a detailed choice, a smart choice about the priority order in which you are going to attempt the sets. Okay guys, please do like the stream. We have close to 170 people who are watching this stream live. And I want to get to at least 250 likes before the stream ends. We have only 125 likes. Please do go like the stream. Let me answer some questions before I go to the third tip. Devjit Patra is saying, sir, actually Cracku mocks are really nice, gives the actual flavor of cat. Thanks a lot, Devjit. And if you have noticed, especially in the last 5-6 LRDIs, 5-6 dash cats, we are putting a lot of effort in our dash cats, in our LRDIs. Many of the LRDIs that you're going to get are very nice, very innovative. I actually enjoy a lot of, I enjoy solving them a lot. I enjoy making them a lot. We are putting a lot of effort, so you should definitely solve dash cats. They will help you quite a lot, especially in the LRDI section, because we are putting a lot of effort in trying to give you diverse kind of LRDIs. The kind of LRDIs that we expect will actually come in CAT. Vijay is saying, my CAT syllabus is not completed on time. What should I do to complete my target? I would recommend you to don't wait till you finish your portion. That normally doesn't happen. You always feel that you could do better. Start taking mocks. Gauri Ratnam is saying, sir, can I skip games and tournaments? I would recommend you to not do it, because even though in the last few years games and tournaments did not come, it is normally a staple LRDS type. Those kind of questions normally come. So look at seeding, look at knockout tournaments, and look at round robin games and tournaments. These kind of questions can come. Because congratulations, sir, I have been taking dashcat mocks regularly, but have not taken any previous papers. Should I take them now or in November or late October? Take them now. Previous papers will help you a lot. Walter White is saying, hello sir, I'm scoring average 55 to 16 dashcat mocks. I think that is a good score. How is your split in the different sections? Let me know how it is. Ashish Mishra is saying, sir, I'm able to solve one set in mocks, but that's about it. Should I focus on concepts or just practice more? Practice more. LRDI is a lot more about actual practice. So I want you to solve as many sets as you can. Don't worry about time. Take as much time as you want. For one set, if you're taking half an hour, that's fine. Okay, but solve those LRDI sets. That confidence is important. Founder saying dashcat is really very good. Thanks a lot, Founder say. Dev Mishra is saying, sir, targeted score for DILR and which one should be priority, DI or LR? You should be very good at DI. That is my first assessment, because DI is a low hanging fruit. If you know how to read a graph, if you know how to read a bar chart, if you know how to read a pie chart, if you know how to read a line graph, if you know how to read a spider web, there are very few types of DIs, and you should know how to answer each one of them, how to read them. Because once you read them, and if you spend 15 minutes, you will get the DI correct. Most people will get the DI correct. So, and it is one set you should definitely get correct, because in that case, at least you will not be, you will not have a disastrous LRDI section if you get the DI correct. And DI is fairly easy. If you spend time, you will get it correct. Even in the examination, it is not a set where you are going to solve in 5 minutes. You will have to spend time, but in my opinion, it is a safe option. You should definitely go for it. Should I solve DILR from 1990 to 2016? Is it top priority? I would say it is not top priority. The LRDIs from the earlier sections were different. The recent LRDIs are important. First is 2022, then 2021, then 2020. If you have time, 2019, then 2018. Go in the descending order. That is a lot more valuable than coming from 1990. Vishak Gole is saying, sir, I feel Cracku's level of LRDI is easy this year. Is that true? Please answer. I don't think so. I think we are putting a lot of effort to make very interesting LRDIs. And these are the kind of sets that will actually come. Because if you look at the solutions of actual CAT also, they are not difficult sets. It is just that they are very new. So on the day of the examination, if the idea doesn't strike you, you find, and also with the exam pressure, you feel that this is a very difficult set. But if you answer those LRDIs with a lot of time at your home in a relaxed manner, you will get most of them correct. Okay, I gave you 2 tips for LRDI. The first tip is taking the last 4-5 minutes off in verbal section and approaching LRDI in a calm mind, with a calm mind. The second one is making a priority order and ensuring that you know exactly what LRDI to attempt after each one. The third tip that I am going to give you is with respect to TITA questions. In LRDI, TITA questions come very often. Out of the 20 questions in LRDI, at least 8 to 9 will be TITA questions. Don't let any TITA question go without attempting it, because TITA questions have no negative marking. And you can actually make smart choices in TITA questions, especially if you are not making any headway in a LRDI set. Still read the question properly and read the instructions also properly. Spend some time, because in LRDI many times you will have a lot of time, because after a point of time you feel that okay, I am able to answer 1 set, but in the remaining 3 sets I am not making any headway, or I have solved 2 sets and in the remaining 2 sets I am not making any headway. In that kind of situation, once you have say 6 to 7 minutes left, this happens quite often. LRDI section is ending, you have attempted say 2 sets correct, you have 6 minutes left and you are not making any headway in the remaining 2 sets. At that time, don't give up. And in my opinion, don't try to answer a set completely. If you get it, that's fantastic. But at least in both the remaining LRDI sets, go through the instructions, try to figure out what is the theme of the set. For example, if it is an arrangement set, it is likely mentioned that okay, there are 5 people, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V. And they're playing say a game, there are rounds from say 1 to 6. You get some essence of what it is about. Then go through the TITA questions. If in the TITA questions, you are able to sense that okay, the answer will be either P or Q or R, S or T or U. Basically, or the rounds will be either 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. You should have some sense of what the answer will be. You won't get it correct, but at least you will know that it will be one of these 5. Then mark some number. And many times it actually works out. Many times, for example, it happened to me personally, I think again in either CAT 2020 or CAT 2019, where I was not able to solve an LRDI set. This was a set which involved high-low. It was a game, high-low game. It was a game that some people were playing. But once I looked at and I didn't have time to actually answer the set. I think I had 3-4 minutes left and I knew that I won't be able to answer that set. But I went through the instructions and I figured out that this was a game that was being played and it will be played over 6 rounds, from first round to 6th round, and there will be some scores in it. And then I looked at the TITA questions, and 2 of the TITA questions were in which round did this particular thing happen, or in which round did that particular thing happen. And one of the question was in which round did it happen for the first time, or something like that. Now those kind of questions I made a calculated guess. I felt that it won't be the first round, because if you are asking in which round did this happen, most likely it won't be the first round. Similarly, I felt that if they are asking questions about in which round did it happen for the first time, most likely it won't be the last round. So in the 6 rounds, I ruled out 1 and 6. I knew that the answer will be either 2, 3, 4 or 5. Then I had a choice with the 3 TITA questions. I can put 2, 3, 4 and 5 in each one of them, but I made a calculated guess that I'm going to put all the answers as 3. And like that, I think I got 1 question correct, where I didn't solve the set at all. There were 3 TITA questions. I marked 3 as the answer for all of them, which was in the middle of the rounds, and I could get 1 question correct. Now this is just a strategy, which is an exam taking strategy. It doesn't involve a lot of logic or anything. It just is practical. Where you're taking the examination, you know that most likely at least one of the 3 questions will be 3. And then you put all the answers as 3, you'll get 1 question correct. That is 3 marks, valuable 3 marks. So this is the third tip that I'm going to give you. Okay, Chidambaram Muthu is saying, sir, after CAT, is there an institute for interview preparation which is highly recommended? Right now, I think focus on CAT. Don't get distracted. This is another thing that many people have, especially people who haven't taken CAT earlier. They get distracted. They also feel demotivated. They feel that, okay, my 10th marks are low, my 12th marks are low. What will I do? Some people feel that, okay, after CAT, how will I prepare for interviews? I'm not good at GDPIs. All of those things in my mind are just distractions. They're just cluttering your mind. Right now, you should be like Arjuna in Mahabharata. The only thing that you should be thinking about is cat. Nothing else. Everything else is a distraction. Just focus on improving your score in cat. You will have time for everything else later on. Guys, we have more than 190 people who are watching this stream live. I want to get to at least 250 likes. So please do like the stream. We have 200 people who are watching this stream live. We have only 150 likes. I want to get to at least 225 likes before the stream ends. Let me answer one more question. Sir, is this good to practice previous year's papers or normal mocks? I would tell you to take at least one normal mock every week from now till CAT for sure. In addition to it, you can take previous papers as mocks. That is not a bad idea if you haven't seen the previous papers earlier. Or if you have seen some of the previous paper questions earlier, if you have seen some of the videos earlier, then I would tell you at least download the PDFs and attempt the LRDI sets as without any time limit. So, for example, download the CAT 2022 slot 1 PDF. You can download all of those PDF on our Cracku website for free. Download that PDF. Once you download the PDF, attempt the first LRDI set. Take your own time. There is no time limit. Try to answer it. Maybe spend 30 minutes, 40 minutes. If you spend that much time, if you have solved it, fantastic. If you haven't solved it, then look at the video solution. The video solution for that set, the link for it is given in the PDF only. In the PDF after that question, you will have a button. Once you click on the button, you will be redirected to the video solution. Then what's the video solution? This is how I think you should attempt the previous papers. I've given you 2 tips. I'll give you another tip, which is also a practical tip with respect to LRDS. Now, this also helped me in one of the CATs. In LRDI especially, it so happens that many times, if you are on and if you are able to solve the set, if the idea strikes you, you will get the set correct completely. That is fantastic. But in some cases, you are not able to figure out which of the 2 cases it is, especially in an arrangement set. You feel that, okay, it is either case A, either this set is possible or that set is possible. Now, most likely in the question, both the cases are maybe possible, but sometimes you have solved it wrong. Only one of the cases is possible, but you are making 2 cases possible. And once you look at the solutions, once you look at the questions, you figure out that only one of these 2 cases is possible. Because suppose this is a circular diagram, circular arrangement. In one case, you are getting P is opposite Q. In another case, you are getting R is opposite Q. And one of the questions that is asked is, which of the 4 is opposite Q? And you have P, R, S and T. Then immediately you will figure out that, okay, I am getting 2 cases. In one case, one guy is sitting opposite Q. In another case, another guy is sitting opposite Q. But in this question, I am asked to select one. So clearly, you immediately figure out that I didn't solve the set correctly. Now, you can either go back and try to solve it again, but many times it so happens that you won't be able to figure out what mistake you're making. This actually happened to me, where I was not able to figure out what mistake I was making. I was getting 2 sets, 2 cases correct, and I knew immediately that only one of them is correct. But in both the cases, I was able to solve everything. This happened, I think, in CAT 2021. This was with respect to some delivery guy who was delivering to 4 different people. I think he got different tips from different people, and something like that was the question. Now, I was able to solve it, but there were 2 cases I was getting. Basically, it was a table, and I was getting 2 different tables. In one of them, the tip that was given by different people were different. But I was able to fill the entire table up in both the cases. Now, I was not able to figure out which of the cases I had to select. And I think this was a 6 question set. I think this was in CAT 2021. I think slot 3. So, what I did at that time again was strategic. I attempted the first 3 questions using the first case. First table that I was able to get, I got 2 tables. I attempted the first 3 questions assuming that the first table was correct. And the last 3 questions I attempted assuming that the second table was correct. The whole point was that I thought, okay, if I'm using this strategy, I'll get at least 3 questions correct in an LRDI set. Because I didn't have time to actually go back and figure out which of the 2 cases is correct. And you should also remember that in the examination, many times your mind will go blank. Especially if it is an LRDI. If you, for example, haven't read a clue, the first time you're reading the set, most likely when you are going through the set again, that clue you will again miss. That is how our mind works. If there are 10 clues that are given and you missed out on a particular clue, or you're not able to figure out the relevance of that clue when you are reading the set for the first time, even if you're spending more and more time, for some reason you will have a blind spot there, you will not be able to recognize the significance of it. That is what has happened for me in that set, and that has happened many times also, where for some reason I just ignore one line in the LRDS. So if it happens to you, remember that if you are getting 2 different cases, pick 3 questions for the first case and 3 questions for the second case. In that section, in that CAT attempt, luckily for me, out of the 6 questions, there was an overlap in these 2 tables. So for example, in both the tables, the tip that was given by a particular person was the same. and I was getting out of the 6 questions, I expected 3 questions to be correct, but because of this overlap, I got 4 questions correct. Completely lucky, but also strategic. So these are the strategic things that you will also have to gain on your own, and you will gain this strategic thinking only if you take a lot of mocks. One more tip that I'm going to give you, a bonus tip is, especially with respect to LRDS, if you are not able to make headway in any particular LRDA, you are able to solve some particular cases, but you are not able to figure out what the next step should be. Then look at the questions. If you are looking at the questions, especially the non-TITA questions, questions which have options, you will be able to figure out some more information. For example, this happened to me in again one of the CATs where this was with respect to some plantations. There were some different trees that were left by a father to his daughters. There were different number of trees in a plot of area, and you essentially have to figure out how many trees were given for each one of them. Now again I got some cases and I was not able to make any headway. Again I missed out on one line which was given in the clues, but I was not able to figure out which line I was missing. So again I was making some headway, but I was not able to figure out the exact answer. Then I started looking at the questions, and in one of the questions it was told that okay, how many trees were part of one particular section of that plot. I knew that it was either A or B or C, and amongst the options that were given, only one of the numbers was actually matching with the cases that were possible in my scenarios. So immediately I figured out that it has to be option A. For example, if I was figuring out that it has to be either 3 or 5 or 7, and the options that were given were 3, 6, 9 and 12. I knew that it definitely has to be either 3 or 5 or 7, and the options were 3 or 6 or 9 or 12. Then immediately I would figure out that okay, it has to be 3, and once I filled this 3 in, I was able to solve the entire set. This actually happened to me. So again, this is strategic thinking where you are making use of the information that is given in the questions, not just in the group, to actually solve the LRDI set. These are things, these are tricks, practical things that you will gain only if you are solving a lot of mocks. If you are just solving a set without any time pressure, you will not develop these kind of ideas. If you are solving a mock with that adrenaline where you really want to do well, and then you try to figure out what are the different ways in which I can actually succeed. If you have that kind of a pressure, and if you get used to that kind of a pressure, then you will be able to solve these kind of things, and you will be developing many more such tricks with experience. So this is all that I wanted to say. Guys, please do like the stream. I'll answer one more question, one last question before I end the stream. If you have any questions, please do let me know. Naman Gupta is saying, good evening, sir. While appearing for mocks, I am able to solve just a single set of LRDI, time constraint. Like, will it be enough if I do the same in CAT? To be honest, if you solve one LRDI set, correct. And if you, like I told you, attempt all the TITA questions in a smart way, you will get at least 1 or 2 TITA questions correct. Then you will be getting around 6 questions correct. Manlo, 6 questions correct. 6 questions correct is very good. Is at least good. It might not be terrific, but it is definitely a face-saving kind of a result. And then you will have to do well in verbal and quant. But you have to get one set correct and part of the some more sets correct. Typically, you should try to get out of 20 questions around say 6 or 7 questions correct with 100% accuracy. That should be fairly sufficient. But that is also risky. It is risky because if the set that you solved correct, if you made any silly mistakes, then you're done. Then you, instead of getting 6 questions or 7 questions correct, you will be getting 3 questions correct, which will be a disaster. Samyak is saying, sir, will it be good enough to solve previous year's papers 15 days before CRAT, as it gives more realistic percentile considering a large audience? Don't worry about these percentiles or realistic chances. All of them, I think, is not a smart way of approaching the examination. Right now, you should not be worried about percentile. What you should be worried about is, how should I make the best use of the last 45 days? What should I do to improve the score that I'm going to get on the day of the examination? My performance should be good. Percentile will come later. And especially having a realistic chance or realistic percentile estimate, what are you going to do with it? If in a mock you are doing well, and in a mock it says that you are going to score 90 percentile, but on the day of the examination, if you don't do well, it won't matter, right? So focus more on improving yourself. Try to solve previous papers as soon as possible, because they are going to help you direct the preparation for the last 45 days. If you are putting off previous papers for the last 5 days or 10 days, then you won't be able to make the best use of it. Quant mock strategy, Saptarshi Chaudhary, I would say there is no a Ramban kind of a strategy to improve your mock scores in quant. The only thing I would tell you is answer as many questions as you can. Practice more and more. That is how your speed increases. This is something that I told before also. I do well in quant every year. The reason for that is because I solve a lot of quant questions on a day-to-day basis. If there's a doubt that people ask, I solve those doubts. When preparing for dashcats, I solve those dashcat questions. I record videos for the dashcats. For daily targets, I do it. So there are a lot of questions that I answer. That practice helps me do well on the day of the examination. So in quant section, when I look at a question, I immediately know what is the first step in answering that question. So there is no time wasted in trying to figure out how to answer that question. Once I look at a question, immediately I know what is the first step. Once I know the first step, it becomes very easy. And I developed that ability because I answered so many questions. I answered thousands of questions. So you also should do it. There is no shortcut to success. If you answer a lot of questions, your speed will increase, your accuracy will increase. Then instead of solving 10 to 12 questions, you will be answering 15 to 16 questions. For that, to improve one question from 10, if you want to go to 11, roughly you will have to solve 100 questions. If you practice 100 questions, your mock attempts will increase from 10 to 11. If you solve another 100 questions, they will increase from 11 to 12. You put in that effort and then the results will follow. Okay guys, I need to go, but please do like the stream if it has helped you, and we'll again see you very soon.